What is up, everybody? I am George Mossey. Say hello to my co-host Cherona. So, Darcey and Stacey season 4, episode 4 has aired. There's a lot to talk about. This was an action-packed episode. So, I want to talk about them going wedding venue shopping. With them, I mean Stacey and Florian. So, Stacey has kind of taken the reins on the venue because, as you can recall, past in the episode, Florian was taking her to parks and piers and other places to go wedding venue shopping. So, Stacey has hired herself a wedding planner, and she is making sure that she gets the dream wedding that she not only wants and deserves, but she was unable to give herself because of COVID. And they've been together for 7 years. They had to get married in a tiny apartment because of COVID. And now she's actually allowed to have the wedding where she can have all of her friends and family there. And she's not going to let Florian ruin that. And she's also taking control of the bill, because I want to talk about, first of all, how beautiful the venue was. When I heard it was in Miami, I wasn't really impressed because Miami is a beautiful place, but it's a lot of party places, like club places, pool party places. She found like the only actual castle in Miami, which I think is super elegant, super nice, but the price tag. So I was like, the price tag is so high. This might as well be a destination wedding. So for a small amount of guests, we're looking at $70,000. And for the amount of guests that Stacey would need, because she's Stacey Silva, we're looking at $100,000. And Florian is just looking like, who spends $100,000 on a wedding venue?
Yeah, I mean, when I heard that, I was like, oh. I mean, they are in Miami though, and it is beautiful. It is a castle, which I didn't even know that there were castles in Miami. So, I mean, I guess the price tag makes sense, but I mean, I live in California, so like $100,000 for a wedding, I feel like is so normal here. Is that bad to say? I feel
Well,
like
no,
California.
California, I've always said, is like another planet.
Yes, it is. So, yeah, I was shocked, but not shocked because I was like, when I first heard, I was like, oh shit, like that's like a house, like Florian said. But I was like, I've worked so many, because I do makeup, so I've worked so many weddings in these giant lavish things. I've actually worked in castles and stuff, so it makes sense that that's the price. I know the price tags out here, and it's very high.
So that's not counting like the dress and the
No.
catering and all of the other stuff. So how much do you think altogether this wedding is going to cost? I was thinking like 150,000 or more, right? Because I know a beautiful wedding dress can run you 15 to $20,000.
Yes, it can. Definitely. I mean, with the dress, the shoes, the makeup, the hair, all the little things that when you get married, you don't even think about till you're getting married, like the place settings, the napkins, the charger tables, plate thingies. I don't know. It just, there's so much. And
Yes.
I don't know if that venue covered like the food, the alcohol. Like, did they say what it was included? Was
They
nothing
didn't
included?
they didn't really say. I'm hoping to God it's an
Yeah.
open bar for $100,000, right?
And they got some food, like some cocktail hour. I opened that they're supplying that. Like sometimes I know people that have had to buy their own or rent their own chairs, rent their own
Oh.
tables, and they're already spending so much money on their venues, but their venues don't give them anything.
So let's talk about wedding guests, because Florian has finally told Stacey
Ah,
that his best man is Georgie. And she reacted just the way we thought she would, shocked and angry, because there's already a whole lot of tension between her and Darcey right now. So the idea of bringing Georgie to the wedding around her sister, knowing the way that Darcey is right now, she's in a place in her life where she's definitely not at her best. So bringing the person who kind of put you in that situation is going to make her wedding a lot more drama than Stacey wants. So do you think Stacey has the right to tell Florian he can't have Georgie there? Because that's kind of what was going through my mind. Can she just say no?
I mean, I would because that's crazy. I don't know. Poor Darcey. And Darcey's the maid of honor. So, like, they're going to have to interact and walk down the aisle together and do all these things together. And I think that's honestly like, Florian, you couldn't have found anyone else. Like, you really don't. I mean, he could have chosen Michael, their friend, but I know they have some beef. But like anyone but Georgie, like why Georgie? Like Georgie is the worst person for this. Like
Worse.
poor Darcey. Darcey's doing so good. We don't want to see her fall back.
So I want to talk about Aspen's Sweet 16. And it's also Annico's prom. So Darcey and Stacey and Florian go back to Connecticut to celebrate these family moments, even though they took separate flights, which I thought was insanity because they took the same car from the Connecticut airport to the house. So they are really not getting along. And they said that they were going to put this aside in the past episode. And they even tried apologizing, but that huge fight in that juice bar, I don't think that they've actually gotten over that fight. And even though they said, okay, we're gonna figure this out, we're gonna work on this impossible kicks proposal, we're gonna put our shit aside, and I don't feel like they did. I feel like the tension at that party was insane, to the point where their dad Mike said, I can't take the idea of you two acting this way. He was like, we lost your brother, my son. We know the importance of family. Other than me and you two, this is our whole family. This is our existence. And I need you to depend on each other and understand how important it is to love your sister. And I feel like he is the voice of reason in the family. He always has been, and he's always said the right thing. And I just need them to listen to him because, first of all, they're twins. Sisters, yes, but they're twins and they've spent their entire lives together. So it's like, at the point is, are you going to end that close relationship over something so stupid as one of you is getting married and one of you isn't? And I know people say, oh, well, you have to write it off because when a woman is getting married, she turns into like a bridezilla. It's true, because you have to think about yourself in your wedding. Think about the amount of money Stacey is putting into this. She has to be focused completely on that. She can't really be there to coddle Darcey because she's spending close to $200,000 on one day. So she has to make sure that she's spending the right amount of time doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see them be best friends again. I love their dad. Can I just say that? Their dad, like you said, he is the voice of reason. I really, really, really hope after he had that talk with them that everything changes, because they need to get along. Like, she's her maid of honor. They're twins. They're going to be in each other's lives forever. Like, there's no getting away. They have a business together. Like, they need to get it. I don't know. They need to get it together. I
I
really just
just
want to see them, get back together and this wedding be perfect and just everyone have a good time. But Georgie's got to go. Just saying.
I want them to sit down, maybe with like a mediator or a counselor, and just get out how they feel. Because when they're around each other, have you noticed Stacey doesn't want to say anything, and when Darcey says anything, there's just tension. They don't want to say what's
Mhm.
wrong, and I feel like until they actually communicate with each other, this is never gonna go away. And even at Aspen's party, and even with Aniko going to the prom, they're still acting like they don't want to be around each other, and it's kind of hard to watch because we've
Mhm.
always seen how close they are. And even when Darcey was on 90 Day Fiance and Stacey had nothing to do with it, we still saw Stacey because that's how
Mhm.
close that they were. So the idea that they can't even stomach each other long enough to sit at the table together for a Sweet 16 party is just, it's insanity. And I just want them to understand how important it is. And it's falling over into their business because you were talking about their business. So let's talk about this Johnny Mac meeting with Impossible Kicks. So the girls had pitched this, and we actually watched them go to the fabric store. And I have to say, Stacey was looking at the lighter colors. And
Mhm.
Darcey said, no, let's stick with the blacks and the nudes. So I don't want to point any fingers or any blame or whatever, but Johnny wasn't impressed. He said that it looked great if they were in Connecticut. It didn't look great if they were in Miami. And that makes sense because if you've been to Miami, everyone in Miami dresses amazing. Like, it's like a fashion show everywhere you go ever. First of all, everyone's in shape. I feel like every building in Miami is a gym, because how is it possible that everyone in Miami looks so good all the time and they dress so well? And it's like a fashion show. Everywhere you go, it's like a club night. So I
Mhm.
do get what he's saying. It needs to sell. And his store is probably the number one selling streetwear and footwear store in the country. Impossible Kicks is huge. Basketball players, NBA players, NFL players, they shop at Impossible Kicks. He sets the fashion standard for streetwear. So he knows what he's talking about. So he gave the girls 4 weeks to re-propose another outfit standard to put in the store. Do you think they're going to be able to work together and make this happen? Because I feel like they aren't in a good place. So putting pressure on people who aren't really getting along isn't going to help the situation.
Yeah, I'm nervous about that, but I think that they both really want this. So I think that they're going to be able to come together. And can I just say, I really hope they go back to the fabric store and get all those like hot pinks and neons,
Yes.
because that's going to sell in Miami. Like, I was like, no, not the black and the nude. Like, that's so like LA right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that is not Miami. We need bright colors. We need crazy. We need all of it. Over the top, it's Miami. Like, come on. Even like some like really chic floral print, like Versace florally, that's
Yeah.
like the vibe right now. Like, we need that. We need that from them. I think that they can do it. I really hope they can just get along.
I know, that's the thing. I know they can do it. They
Mhm.
dress amazing. I know they can pull it
Yeah.
off. It's just, can they get along long enough to do it? That's the actual question that we're worried about, because she has 4 weeks. 4 weeks isn't a long time when you're creating a design from like drawings. It's not a long time. So they're going to go to LA next episode, and they're going to meet with their team in LA at House of 11 and try to come up with something in 4 weeks, which is super fast. Like when people put out a fashion line, they work on it for like almost a year. Like it goes from drawings, and then it goes to sketches, and then it goes to fabric, and then it sits on a mannequin, and then they make changes. So that's not what they have. They don't have that type of time. So they have a little bit of time to make this happen. I want to see them get back into the stores, because that would be huge. And you know, this House of 11 brand is for their brother Michael, and it's for his legacy. So that's why it's even more important, because he was so important to that family, and unfortunately they lost him at such a young age, 26, so young. So I want to see them do this for him.
Yeah, same. I really hope they can just bring it together, do this for their brother, put their differences aside, and just kill it.
So I want to congratulate Aniko for asking out a guy herself to go in front. First of all, she didn't want to make it too difficult, so she asked her best friend, which I think is even better. I also went to prom with my best friend. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be someone you're dating. You don't have to ask a girl you have a huge crush on. So in case she says no, you don't even want to go to the prom, you know? So I love that she was like, you know what? I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm going to ask my best friend, Christian. He's going to go to the prom with me. But Christian, I have to say one thing. You gotta be on time, man. Do you see Annika was ready? Makeup, hair, dress, looking amazing. She was ready. So if she can be ready on time, Christian, you gotta be ready on time. This is like a life lesson, like wisdom for you. Women love a man who shows up on time. They do not like to be kept waiting. She didn't
No.
explain why. So maybe there was a good reason why you weren't on time, but I'm just saying, no good reason to be late when a woman is waiting for you to go somewhere she's excited to go. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yep, I can definitely second that. I think the one thing that we hate the most is being put on pause or being put on hold. No, especially not prom.
They were taking pictures with all her friends. She missed that. And that's like,
No.
she can never go back and do that again, because everyone, like as of right now, she's in Arizona right now in college. Like all of those people that were there right then and there, the date and time is gone forever. Everyone is going on and doing different things. So you gotta be on time, Christian. But I'm glad that you were there. I'm glad you made it and you got her to prom. She looked so happy when you arrived. Her whole face lit up. So I know that that friendship is important to her. And I'm so proud of Aspen and Annika. We've watched them grow up on the show, and they're like grown up women almost now. And I'm so proud of them. They're doing so well. And Annika is living on her own. Wow, right? Like, wow. I know people in their mid-20s right now that are still at home. So Annika, you are doing an amazing job. Congratulations. Your mom and your grandpa and your dad are doing so good. All right, guys, that's the time we have. That's what happened on this episode of Darcey and Stacey, season 4, episode 4. I'm George Mossey. This is the George Mossey Show. Make sure you're following me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, georgemossey.com, and anywhere you get your podcast. Please follow my co-host Cherona. Her links are right at the bottom. We're going to talk to all of you guys next week.